Welcome everyone to United Angels Foundation's webinar on employment and special needs. We have some great speakers here today, including our very own Debbie Johansson, UAF Transition Specialist, who's helped many families understand all the ins and outs of what happens when your child is about to turn 18 or after they've turned 18. We also have Carly Gilbert and Danielle Lambert from Voc-Rehab, who will be sharing some information as well in the second part of the session today. And without any further ado, we'll start and introduce Debbie and get your slides up.
Okay, I just lost my picture. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened there. Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to talk about employment. It's a little bit of a passion of mine. I think it is the best thing for our kids whenever it's possible for them to work. And the best place to start with this whole process is with the parents. Can you hear me okay, Sylvia?
Yes, I can. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. So the best place to start is with the most knowledgeable people, and that's you as the parents, to help prepare our children for a good experience in working. The parents are the driving force in finding a job for their children. And we want to have a job that your child feels respected, happy, and productive, just like everyone else. Some of the at home, let's see, do you want them to be at home all day when there is no more school, and they'll just be home all day on your sofa waiting for you to entertain them? That is a lot of pressure for moms, and working is one of the best respites possible. Now, one of the first things that I came across in helping with transition and families is the misconception that if your child is on Social Security, that they can't work. And that is just simply not true. It is true that work can affect their Social Security amount every month, but you will want to know what the rules are and be able to help your child work and keep their benefits. And we'll chat a little bit more about that, where to go to learn the rules of how to work and keep your Social Security and Medicaid benefits, because that's really important. It is a concern, a very valid concern. So yes, they can work and keep their benefits, but I would suggest learning what those rules are. And we'll talk about where to go for that. They don't have to work 40 hours a week. Sometimes you just have this idea they will perform the number of hours that we do. Their stamina and their focus may not allow that. They don't have to work that much. They could work 2 days a week for 2 hours if that was something that would fill the need and there's an employer that would consent to that. So it doesn't have to be a big full-time job. So we're going to go on to some things that you as parents can do to help prepare your child. And the first one is building foundational skills at home. And and you do this anyway, but I'm hoping to give you a little few hints on how you can make this more focused on future jobs. And that's the assign household chores. I know we probably do that already, but we want your child, or you want your child, to feel like he's a productive part of the household at an early age if possible. The earlier, the better. We don't want to exclude him, whether it's just a simple putting napkins in the trash can when dinner is done. If that's their household job and that's all they can do, then that's a good job to start with. Sometimes, and I speak with a little experience with my own daughter, going to work with this. She has disabilities. So I can chat about some of my failures too. What I wish I would have done more of, even though she's working and it's pretty successful. There are edges I could have softened back in the day when I was raising her and she was a young adult. Um, so don't keep their chore too elementary. If they're able to do more, then buff it up a little bit. Have them move on to progress into different, like folding laundry or going into a store and making a purchase or cleaning out the fridge. And you can be the only one who judges if that's too easy or too hard. To learn a new chore, you want to provide every opportunity for them to be successful. So at the beginning, rather than just go do this, we may have to do it with them, provide direct support, be with them when they first start to fold laundry. And it might be a long time that you spend with them to do that laundry. At the beginning of teaching a new skill at home, you may have to begin with your hand over their hand, that basic. You may have to help them wipe a counter with your hand over theirs. You want to try to fade out once it's done, once they are getting the hang out of that. And do try to also, in their chores, have a certain standard of quality so that they don't just do it real quick without any thought, and make sure that we give them lots of praise when it's done well. Um, some other things that you can do when teaching chores at home is to make a list or a picture list of the responsibility, and make sure you let them know that everyone in the family has to contribute in some way so they feel like they're a part of the family. A job coach, when they get older and maybe in Voc-Rehab, they will do what's called a task analysis when they're learning a job, which is a task broken down into real small components, like a picture of Windex. So they will know, I need to go get the Windex. A picture of paper towels. Oh, I need to go get the paper towels. And so every single component or almost movement of that task is broken down so they can flip through it like a flip chart, fits like in a little 3x5 card or however works for you, but broken down. And that's a task analysis. One thing I did a little wrong is when I had my daughter with disabilities doing a task, I would avoid doing it because I could do it so much faster. And I could just zoom through it and not take that sometimes excruciating amount of time to have them do it. But I wish I would have let her do things with without my after she got to know it, let her do it, even though it takes 10 times longer to do. And I'm paying the price for that right now, too. We want to make chore time kind of fun. I'm sure that every child is different. And depending on other siblings and the dynamics of your family, it can look a little different. But we want it to be as fun as possible when they're young. We used to pop up the music, Ice Ice Baby, and we would just blast through our chores so that we could do something fun after. Another technique that you could use in doing assigning chores is that you use the first this, then that. For instance, you could say first dishes, then TV. And stop talking after that. Don't negotiate. Don't don't over talk it. If you say something like this, if the dishes are not done, then you cannot do TV. But that's a lot of negatives thrown in there, and that gives them ammunition to argue with you. So you just go back to the original first this, then that. And there's less to fight about. And again, I understand that there are a lot of different personalities, a lot of different levels of disability, but these are some things that might be pretty universal. Another um, foundational skill that we can work on with our kids at home that will really help when they get to a job situation, and that is time management. Teaching time management can be very basic, starting with, is it morning? Is it afternoon? Is it nighttime? So they become aware of time around them. You can also give them a 10-minute warning. In 10 minutes, we're going to do this. I'm sure you all do that. But another thought too is, do they feel what 10 minutes is like? So you can set a timer for 10 minutes and let them know this is going to go off in 10 minutes, or I'll come back in the room in 10 minutes. And they get the feeling of what 10 minutes or 5 minutes or 30 minutes feels like. You could also recruit them to teach you. For instance, you could say, Katie, can you tell me when 10 minutes is up so I can do this, this, and this? So you're kind of putting them in charge um, of what time things are. And of course, there's also alarm clocks and different techniques you can use, but get them to learn what time feels like. Organization is another life skill where perhaps when they come home from school, they put their backpack here, they set up their next day's things. This organization will be helpful for them to be prepared for the next day, and that will be an important thing when they have a job. Um, Flexibility can be a real issue with our kids with disabilities. Sometimes we can teach time and organization so well that they are stuck in that mode, that they can only do this at this time of day. I can't do this because the hook for my backpack is gone. So my life is over as I know it. That we have to teach them a little bit of flexibility, that if this didn't work out, we're going to do it a different way. And one way you can achieve that is to slightly change how they do things a little at a time. Rigid thinking is a real problem at work. Shifting a setting or doing things differently, or we're going to do dishes at grandma's house instead of our house. We're going to let go of the old way we're doing it. Now we're going to try a new way and replace what they've been so organized and rigid in with new thoughts. So flexibility and vary their experiences. Um, do a little bit of everything. I made that mistake too, where I would Katie's chores were the same for years at a time. I didn't progress on with her to teach her new skills or more age appropriate. They stayed as what she did when she first started doing chores when she was a young adult. I should have progressed with what she could do. The next foundational skill, oddly enough, needs its own category. It is across the board an issue when getting a job, and that is focusing on hygiene. I am a clean person in my with myself and my home, but son of a gun, My daughter does, how can she not see that spot on her shirt? I'd like to know how she does not see that. Or you did the mirror, but you can't see this big streak across it. It's a problem. So I would suggest that we have absolute rules. Some examples of absolute hygiene rules is if there is a hole, of course, now that's in fashion, but we'll pretend that's not. If there's a hole in your shirt, we don't wear it. That's a rule, and it was from the very beginning. Another rule that helped is you can wear the same thing twice because they do tend to want to wear the same shirt, the same pants, or whatever every week. It's a comfort for them. They feel grounded when they are wearing and doing something familiar. So, an absolute rules at the beginning will be quite helpful. Um, you could try do when teaching them to stay clean, and I don't know if you have this issue too, but they can look at a shirt on the bed and they don't see that spot. It's just they just don't see it. It's part of their disability. This can also be when they're doing chores. They just don't see that they missed an entire half of the mirror when they're cleaning it. So you can teach them the quadrant section way of cleaning or seeing things. And that's where you go, we're going to look at the top right, like pretend the mirror or the shirt or whatever is cut into four. So we're going to look at the top and we're going to scan our eyes from left to right. And if we see something in that top, we're going to fix it. Now we're going to do the right hand top. And now we're going to do the bottom left hand and the right hand so that they don't look at it as one massive, I don't see it. I don't see it. And help them learn to do it in more of a quadrant type of a pattern in seeing their hygiene or how well they have seen things. Another thing that can be done is to recruit them. I've done this. This is fun to do. If, for instance, we're on our way to church, and I'll say to Katie, if you, because they get a little mad when you correct them sometimes, sometimes really mad when you correct them. So to help ease that a little bit, recruit them to correct you on some of the hygiene issues. So, for instance, we're on our way out and I'm wearing a dress intentionally. I'll have my slip hanging down a foot and a half and say, do I look okay? And let her correct me. And then I said, oh gosh, I'm so glad that you found that because I would not want to go to church like that. So thank you. So that sends them a message that it's okay to be corrected. Or I'll have one wonky thing of hair sticking out and let her correct me. And that makes it a little softer for them. Sometimes I will take, they don't know that I'm doing this, but I'll take a picture. Hey, we're going out. We all look so good. I'll take a picture. And my daughter's hair or something is really wonky. And let her see the picture and say, don't we look great? And she goes, well, no, look at me. I this okay, well, we can fix that. I've tried all kinds of things. Some things work, some don't, but we got to soften the edges somehow. I've put gigantic mirrors. Half her room is mirrors so she can see if there is something amiss in her hygiene, hair, and how she presents before she leaves. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But teaching them to look in quadrants or to help correct you on your hygiene and having absolute rules, no holes. Is this the third time you've worn it? Now, and that's finite. We there's no argument on that. Another foundational skill that we can work with our kids to help prepare them for work is to model good behavior and good attitudes. If your child hears you or dad or siblings come home from work and say, "Gosh, I hate my job. My boss is the worst ever. And that's modeling something that they are going to pattern after. So you want to pattern, gosh, I have a new thing I have to do at work, but it's going to feel really good when I conquer that and learn that new idea. So that when they get in that position, they will feel like, oh, I have to do something new. But they've heard us talk about us doing something new. And that's pretty cool. Um, you want to talk about your own job and things that you enjoy about it. Oh, I love my coworkers. I don't mean to sugarcoat everything, but be aware of constant negativity about your own job because it will make a difference in how they perceive their job in the future. Or perhaps they may not want to have a job at all since it's such a miserable situation for you. Why would they want to be put into that situation? So talk about things you enjoy at work. You enjoy the paycheck. You enjoy that you accomplish things. You enjoy seeing friends at work. Um, Another thing in modeling good behavior is to teach them to be a team player, and understand that there are different kinds of people that are thin and heavy, dark or light, blue hair, red hair. Let them know that there are different kinds of people that do different kinds of things, dress a different style away. If they hear us saying how awful it is to have to work with somebody that wears only purple, I don't, something, a different color, different something, they will pick up on that. And when they have different types of um, coworkers, they don't want to be on that team. They've heard you talk about how awful it is. So you might want to be aware of how you're speaking about your job. All right, the second thing besides building, those are just a few foundational skills you can do at home. But as you're working and your child is growing up, we're on to identifying and encouraging strengths and interests. Um, and I'm going to talk about this more in the form of giving examples. So, you want to talk to your child about what they dream about doing in the future. Sometimes they don't even think, what future? What you may want to talk about. Someday you might want to live in an apartment, or someday you might want to this. I have a friend whose daughter is going on late 30s, excuse me, and mom and dad are getting quite a bit older, and they never mentioned ever that things might change when mom and dad get older, or one of them should never occurred to even mention it. And the daughter has total freak out times if somebody mentions that. The parents will move on and possibly get sick or die sometime. I've been talking to my daughter about when I'm 6 feet under, and she laughs about it now. She has been so prepared for me to to die. She's going, isn't it time yet? No, I just she's prepared for things to change and that a future might look different, but that's okay because it can look really good and there will be fun things ahead. So she actually looked very forward to, I bet Taylor has too, that's on this call, looked forward to having their own place. And of course, there will be supports as our child needs them. We're not going to just throw them in unprepared into uh, their own place or whatever. And that's a whole nother webinar. But we want them to know there's a future that might look a little different. There might be a future that you get to have a job too. You get to go somewhere to work. Um, you want to get to know what their interest is. Some examples that involve jobs. I worked with Voc-Rehab for quite a few years in addition to being a transition specialist. So I will use fun examples. One young man, very capable young man, he was so set on what he wanted to do in the future was be a doctor. He wanted to be a doctor. I was his job coach. Okay, well, that could be a little difficult. So you talk with them, and over a long period of getting to know them, what is it about being a doctor that appeals to you? Is it like going into a doctor's office? Is it the setting? Is it helping people? Is it changing that? What is it about it? It took quite a while to get to the bottom of it. But long story short, he wanted to wear scrubs. And in his mind, being a doctor meant he could wear scrubs. So we had to adjust that interest. And yes, you can. I actually found him a job in an insurance company where he was doing some filing. And I chatted with the manager, and he said, he said, to this young man, we'd love it if you would wear scrubs to work. He was in heaven. Life was good. He had that job he's probably still there. I don't even know. Years and years and years. So you need to know what it is that their interests, boil it down to, so that we get a good job match. A good job match is good for everyone. You don't want it to be too high, too low. For my daughter, one of her favorite things in life, other than going to Disneyland, is to go to Costco and get food samples. She always loved that. I knew that from early on. That was a good day if we could go to Costco. So why not work on things that could possibly help her to get a job, which she did as a food demonstrator. It was not easy. It took years and years of preparation, but she's been there for almost 20 years. It does come with its issues. I'm not saying it's smooth sailing all the time. She has even gotten warnings because people don't say thank you to her when she gives them a food sample. So she got written up. So we've had to teach her that you just give them the samples. It's their choice to say thank you or not. So anyway, that comes with a little laugh from us about her saying, "You're welcome" to different customers, and they reported her for that. Can you bet? So when you go to Costco, say thank you to the food demonstrators. Another example of a parent learning what their child's interests are in preparation to find a job. Another young man, he's just so friendly and social. He happened to have Down syndrome, and his favorite thing in life was to go to nice restaurants with his parents. That was a good day for him. So why not work on getting him a job in a nice restaurant? So after quite a bit of looking around, it doesn't happen overnight. He has been there since the restaurant opened. He opens the door and says, "Welcome" to the customers. They all know him, they love him. It's wonderful to see him out in the community and working with in a social way, the way he loves. And he does it 2 hours a day, 5 to 7, 5 days a week. His mom gets e-pass because he's on the wait list. And that's how they roll. He's so happy. He loves greeting. Another thing is to um, look for what they're good at. So, an example of finding a job after recognizing what's their talent. I found a job for a young man. Oh, it was excruciating because I was focusing on the wrong thing. And finally, I said, "Tell me again," as a job developer, "tell me again what you love to do. What are you good at? What's your strength?" And of course, that's like pulling teeth sometimes. But finally, I did get a one-word answer, two words: "I like bikes." "What? You like bikes? That's awesome." And so, can you fix a flat tire? Can you fix a brake? Anyway, he actually was darn good at fixing bikes. So I took a bike that he had fixed for me, and I actually took that bike around with me to bike shops. And that's how he got a wonderful long term, years and years he's been there at a bike shop. And it has been the most fantastic, happy thing in his life. I can't even tell you. I could go into detail, but knowing what his strength was, that he was good at fixing bikes. Well, let's look in that area for him to have a job. Another thing in observing what their interests and their strengths are, excuse me, is to encourage them and give them recognition for when they do something well. I've even resorted, besides just thanking them, I would let them overhear me talking to my friends or a relative over the phone, and I would brag about how well they did their job or how well they did this chore at home, and let them hear you. And that becomes very prized for them, that they've been so successful that mom is telling Aunt Susie about it. That makes them want to do more and to do better. The last thing that I could recommend doing at home to prepare them for the job and workplace is for you to get involved in the transition process. Help to teach them to advocate for themselves. An example of this is when my daughter began working, um, I wasn't going to be there to answer every question that the boss might have or coworkers would have. I'm not there every day, all day long with her at her job. So I had to teach her to say, and we had to say it over and over again so it could be the language could feel comfortable for her. Um, Sometimes things are hard for me. Can you explain it again? So when the manager was giving her a new task or correcting her on an old task and she wasn't getting it, mom isn't there to help her. So she needed to learn to say, sometimes things are hard for me. Can you explain it again? And let them know that that's okay, rather than having a fit or crying or be disturbed and then have the manager go, "What's happening here?" So teach them right off to advocate for themselves, and they have to practice that. Um, Getting involved in the transition process means that you need to be involved in their IEPs as well as the Voc-Rehab counselor, and pay attention to those IEP goals, especially as they get into those transition ages, 14 and up. Are some of those goals geared toward future jobs, or are they back into learning math, which is fine if that's what you want to do, but are some of those goals geared towards future working? So you can help keep the IEP team cognizant of goals that will help them be a good worker. Another thing is learning, mom and dads, about the resources out there. How are they going to get to their job? What is transportation going to look like? Are you going to feel comfortable with them riding UTA? Will you be available for the rest of your life to drive them back and forth? You want to be thinking about transportation. But in that little topic, did you know that there are UTA travel trainers? It's a free service where a UTA employee will come to your home and ride back and forth on that bus route to their where they're going to their job or whatever until they feel comfortable. Back and forth. It's a free service. That's travel UTA travel trainers. There are paratransit opportunities. There are reduced fare passes where it's half the cost of regular UTA work. So another thing that can help with transportation, it's called EPAS, Employment Related Personal Assistance. This is a very unused help that families, I think, should utilize more. It is where you can hire a personal assistant to help your child maintain their at least 10-hour-week job. The eligibility criteria is they are on Social Security, they're on Medicaid. Medicaid's easy once they're on Social Security. It's a simple little application. And at least a 10-hour-a-week job. So one of the things that a personal assistant can do under this program is drive them to work, and they're getting paid to do so. When a child is working, there are things that you already do at home that help them to maintain their job. If they have a job, someone needs to help with finances. Someone needs to help them with their laundry. If they're working, they need a nice balanced meal. So somebody needs to help them meal plan, go to the grocery store. They need to go to the doctor. They need to go to the dentist. They need their prescriptions filled. They need haircuts, their nails trimmed. All of those things help them to maintain their job. And I've known people that have applied to this. There's no wait list. You can use this if you're on the DSPD wait list. If you get that phone call saying we have funding to take your child off of the DSPD wait list onto services, I think I'd go with DSPD rather than EPAS, as wonderful as they both are. But EPAS is only there if they're working. Should they lose their job, then you're out of luck. But EPAS is a wonderful bridge between being on the wait list and getting services. I know a parent who filled out the application for EPAS, and the things that their child would need assistance with, she gets, and the parents can hire themselves for this one too, or relatives. And she gets 33 hours a week to help her child maintain his 10-hour-a-week job. Sweet. And that will help with transportation. DSPD is probably one of the best supports. If you are on the DSPD wait list, not even on services, just on the wait list, there is a support work and dependence program. You don't have to do anything to access this. Voc-Rehab will know that, but you get a little more job coaching, a little longer time with the job coach. That is support work independence is the name of that. And of course, last but not least, one of the greatest supports is Voc-Rehab. And in closing, once your child has found a job, be sure to go and thank you as mom and dad. Thank the manager. Go into the restaurant or the place of work and thank their coworkers personally that they are a big part of your child's life and a happy, good job placement. And make them know that that child, your child, is a cherished person in your family and that you really appreciate their kindnesses and their support. And so we do want our kids to work. It's not good to be isolated from the community and from life itself. We don't want regression after they leave the school setting. And our kids want everything that everyone else wants. They want to grow, they want to contribute to society, they want to be proud of their work. So I think it's important that we start this at home. And now we're going to turn the time over to Voc-Rehab and learn the different things that they can provide and just how it all works. And I'll turn the time over to you, Danielle.
I'm going to try to share the screen. Okay. Can you guys see that? Can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So, Sylvia, can you tell me how much time is left?
You have 15 minutes, and then we'll stay on just a few after the top of the hour for questions.
Okay. Yes, and I actually do have an 11 o'clock appointment. So I'm just going to go through a few of these slides here with Voc-Rehab. And then just feel free to email me with any questions about Voc-Rehab. So this slide kind of tells you that we are a state agency. We work exclusively with people with a diagnosed disability. You can start Voc-Rehab as young as 14. And the types of disabilities, some of those are listed here. Basically, it's anything that's covered under the ADA. So sensory disabilities, mental health disabilities, learning disabilities, substance use, of course, physical disabilities that may be acquired or that you're born with, developmental disabilities, something like autism. Those would all qualify for our services. I think we'll skip that. Yeah. So here's kind of the basics to apply for Voc-Rehab. We do have application on our website. So you can print that off and then fill it out. And then once you've done that, we just ask that you call our office. And I can give you the number of our particular office. I'm with the Provo office, but there's actually offices for VR all throughout the state of Utah. And that's also listed on the USOR website. So you'd fill out your application, call our office, and then just say that you want to be assigned a counselor, that you have the application, and whoever answers the phone can do that for you. So they'll assign you a counselor and they'll get you on that counselor's calendar, okay? And then you'll just bring that completed application with you to that appointment. It's nice if you have the actual diagnosis of the disability to bring that with you, and to bring us some form of ID, like a state ID, passport, or if you're at school, you can actually bring your school ID and we'll accept that. If you are receiving Social Security benefits, it's nice to bring your award letter to that as well. And then that starts the process of eligibility. And eligibility, we have 60 days to find you eligible for our services. So that's kind of the first step in the process there. And then once you're eligible, we have 90 days or 3 months to get a vocational plan together. So that's where we're going to talk about what your vocational goal is going to be and how you're going to achieve that goal and what kind of services we think you need to achieve that goal. So a lot of people that are younger, that are just kind of starting out in the work field, they might like a job coach. So we can pay for job coaches to work with our clients, to help them with anything from filling out applications, interview skills, updating their resumes, going to various places, to check out the jobs that are available there, transportation skills, helping them to figure out how to get on the bus, how to get off the bus, for work. And then they can also come to work with the client if needed, to help them understand their tasks and help them make sure that they're comfortable in that position at work. So, and then just some of the list of services. Voc-Rehab can help in a variety of ways, not just job coaching. Sometimes we can actually help with restoration services and things like that. Sometimes we can actually help with training or education. I do have clients that are going to college. Sometimes we are helping to pay for college, depending on their financial needs assessment. So that's a great thing that we provide. And then another thing that's great about Voc-Rehab, where younger kind of students can take advantage of, is the pre-employment transition services. And so that's what Carrie does here. That's here with me. She's an instructor there with pre-employment transition services. So I think the next few slides, she'll just kind of take it over and talk about that service as well. And yeah, then thank you. I might have to leave in a few minutes to meet with a client, but please feel free to email me. So my email is daniellelambert@utah.gov. Okay, and then our Provo office, I'll just give you the phone number really quick, 801-806-0950. So that's our main number here in the Provo office. So if you live in the Provo area, Orem, Linden, Vineyard, American Fork, you're going to come to the Provo office. Yeah. So thanks, everyone.
Okay, so I do pre-employment transition services. I'm an instructor. It's offered to students with a disability, and we talk about career exploration, counseling on post-secondary options, work-based learning, workplace readiness, and self-advocacy. So to be eligible, students, the students are 14 to 21 years old, or they could be 22. They can turn 22 while participating in the program. So while they're participating in post-high, they need to have an IEP or a 504, and they need to be enrolled in a secondary or post-secondary education program. Services offered by vocational rehab counselors and pre-ETS instructors. We can attend individualized education program meetings with parents and students, conduct job readiness workshops at schools, and provide one-on-one counseling and coordination services with eligible clients. So in the classroom, I go into the classroom once or twice a month, depending on the schedule. And then a typical lesson would last between 30 to 45 minutes. The teacher stays in the classroom while I am teaching. We have over 70 lessons, and we can tailor these lessons to fit in with the teacher's lessons plans as they relate to employment or employment skills. We can teach IEP and 504 students between the ages of 14 and 21, like I said before. So here's my contact information. I'm one of 2 instructors in our Provo office. And unfortunately, I think, before when we were testing this, it didn't work. So Mandy Hardman is our second instructor. She does South Summit and Wasatch and some schools in Provo, as well as Orem, and I think she has one school in Alpine. I do Alpine School District mainly. I do have a few schools in Provo, and then I do charter schools. Okay, so let's see how we doing on time. So Voc-Rehab works with employers to offer a work-based learning experience to students who are mostly job ready in order to help them learn soft skills, develop an awareness of career options, understand the benefits of employment, and learn positive work habits. Employers who hire these students agree to provide training, mentoring, and feedback during the student's experience. Experiences are meant to be a part-time and temporary, between 4 to 10 weeks long, up to 20 hours per week. Generally, Voc-Rehab works with the student and their family to identify people in their network, and ideally in their desired field of employment, who might be interested in providing this work-based learning experience. If a student participates in Voc-Rehab services, there is also a possibility that we can pay employers a training fee based on the student's wages for the agreed upon time frame. This would need to be set up before the employment occurs. So, do we have any questions?
If you have questions, please feel free to either unmute the microphone or you can put them in the chat and I'll be watching the chat box. Also in the chat, we have Danielle's phone number and email address.
Am I still sharing the screen?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Trying to figure out how I unshare it. Oh, okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Debbie.
Can you tell us about the new wait list to get services? Can you expand on that?
It's called order of selection. It's something that has been done in the past as well. So this is basically because we haven't gotten an increase in our budget over the last several years, but we are serving more clients. We've got about 2,000 clients just here in the Provo office alone. So they have told us that this is what's going to happen. Basically, you would just still get your application, fill it out, call our office, and set up that appointment. You'll be assigned a counselor. We'll still do the intake appointments with you. And then during that eligibility time, that's where we decide whether you're most significantly disabled, or disabled. There's kind of 3 levels that you usually fall under. And that's based on functional limitations and the type of disability that you have. So we have been told that we will still continue to meet with and serve those that are considered most significantly disabled. So we'll still be serving them without a wait list, but those who fall under the significantly disabled or disabled categories, they will be placed then on a wait list, and the counselor will just be in touch with them, I think every 90 days or so, to kind of see if they want to stay on the wait list, how things are going, and if we have any updates as far as when they'll come off of the wait list. So hopefully that answers that question.
Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, feel free to just reach out to our office or my email with any questions, or Carrie. We'll be happy to answer any questions about pre-employment training.
Yes,
So,
sure.
yeah. And they offer, sometimes you guys offer, one-on-one pre-employment too, or we have time.
Yeah, in the summers, usually we can do one-on-one appointments.
Sometimes you offer the workshops too.
Yes, and we do have workshops in the summer as well. So
yeah,
So
And
that's
where
nice to
would
know.
everyone find the dates for those workshops? Just on the website?
That's a good question.
The website is more statewide website, so it's not particular to our Provo office.
Yeah, we usually let the schools know. We don't know the dates yet until closer to the end of the year.
Mhm.
So
We just call here.
yeah, just call.
You know, in like April, May, and just
Yeah,
find out.
and then we would have the dates for those workshops.
Awesome. Thank you.
And you don't have to be a VR client to take advantage of these pre-employment
Right.
services.
Right.
So that's something to keep in mind as well. If you're a student and you have a disability, you can work sometimes through your school to get these pre-employment training, or you can just reach out to our office.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. I don't see any other questions in the chat. So I want to thank everyone for being here today and learning with us. Thank you, Carly and Danielle and Debbie. Next week, we'll have part 2 of this webinar series, and we will be hearing from UAF. So we'll be learning about another resource that was briefly mentioned today. We'll go into more detail next week. And we hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your day and a great weekend. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Bye.